Everyone thinks they're behind financially because they're not rich or they don't have a lot of money. But wealth isn't just about the money. It's about knowing where you are on the journey. I've worked with thousands of clients over the past decade, and what I've learned is this. There are 6 clear levels of wealth, and each level has signs that you're doing better than you think. So here's how to figure out which level you're at and exactly what to do to reach the next level. Let's start at the bottom with level 0. I call this financial survival, which means I have more debt than I do in assets. So if we're at level 0, our net worth, again, is negative. We're probably living paycheck to paycheck. Our credit cards are maxed out, and we feel like we're struggling just to make rent. The thing that stalls progress at this stage, though, is discouragement, believe it or not. We can feel overwhelmed and think that we can't do anything to get out of this pit of debt. The important thing to do here is to get clarity about your situation. Think about it. If you're overwhelmed and you try to do 10 things at once, I got these credit cards, I got to try and pay them off. Oh, I've got to make more money over here. I got to plan for the future with my retirement accounts. And you're trying to do everything at the same time. How much progress do you think you'll make? Probably not that much. What if you slow down and focus on one thing at a time? How much progress do you think you'll make? A lot more. It is so much easier to focus on one thing at a time. Here's what I would do to get out of level 0. The first thing I would do is write down my income, specifically with a pen and paper. That is my preference. Second, I would write down my expenses and debt, then see what you can cut. Now, remember that this won't last forever. I like to think of cutting expenses as something temporary. And then the third thing I would do, see how I could generate more income. This is ultimately what's going to help lift you out of level 0. Let's move on to level 1, referred to as financial break-even. So level 1 is the first real win. You're no longer in the red and you're starting to build. Net worth from anywhere from 0 to $100,000. Now, this level is often overlooked because it doesn't look rich from the outside. However, I think getting out of level 0 and into level 1 is absolutely huge. And the reason why is because you start to gain momentum. You start to gain confidence. Speaking personally, it took me 3, almost 4 years to get out of level 0 just to level 1. And that was the first big step that I took. 1, it gave me a ton of relief. My skills were sharpening and I was gaining momentum now. So now I'm like, all right, I can really start to move quickly. So momentum is really, really important. I had a lot more peace of mind and also flexibility because my credit cards were paid off and I felt like I'm no longer in crisis mode or survival mode, which I didn't like at all. Here's what I would do to graduate from level 1. First, I would focus on paying off any remaining bad debt, particularly credit cards or any type of high interest loans that you have. Second, I would work on building an emergency buffer. This is cash in the bank, just meaning money in checkings and savings. What this will do is give you breathing room. From there, you can then start to plan for the future and save money. Let's move on to level 2. This is what real financial peace looks like. Having a net worth anywhere from $100,000 to $1 million. You usually have all of your debt paid off, except for maybe the mortgage. I see people at this level typically enjoying time with family, friends, going on vacations. Now, this stage usually provides the most time and space that allows people to focus on what matters most to them. Here's what I would do. The first thing I would do is try to get out of level 0 and level 1. Once you move past those levels, it's probably going to alleviate a lot of financial stress. Then, once you're in financial stability, which is level 2, where we're at right now, you might be happy. And I'll say this, if you're happy there, you're content with the amount of money you have and being able to use your time to hang out with friends and family, I think that that's okay. A lot of people I know do well and they're comfortable financially at this level, and they value their time more than they do money. If you'd like to get to the next level, that's going to require two things. First, it's going to require some risk. And second, it's going to require new skills. Let's move on to the next level, financial growth. Typically, a net worth from $1 million to $10 million. Level 3 is not about being a millionaire, believe it or not. It's about mastering your time and multiplying your options. When someone reaches out to me and they're interested in working with my company, I'll get an email that sounds something like, Steve, I've been researching whole life insurance. I'm interested in a policy purely for high cash value. I prefer one of the 4 major mutual companies. I really like Guardian and Mass Mutual because of their flexibility. When I get an email like that, it's obvious that the person has done their research and they want to be productive with the time that they spend with me. So if you want to get to level 3, I've seen people do this in 2 ways. The first is diversification. That means they have money in their retirement accounts, real estate, the stock market, and maybe some other areas. The second way is if you go all in, usually with a business. Those who own their own business are taking on a lot more risk, a lot more stress, and they're giving up a lot more time. But I usually see those who own their own business get to the next level faster than those who take the diversified approach. This is all based on experience with clients I've worked with, again, for over the past decade. If you're at level 3, you're probably doing well and you've got a lot of money in savings. But if you want to get to that next level, it starts with you. You'll have to learn new skills. It's something that you haven't done before. And if you actually want to know what you're doing, you can't just ask ChatGPT, how do I become a real estate savant or expert? You got to put the time in like anything else. Now for me, a skill that I worked on developing initially was speaking and teaching. It's something that I thoroughly enjoy. However, to get to the next level, what I had to learn to do was to have hard conversations with people, letting an employee go, or telling someone that they're getting a final warning. I remember the first time we went through a big restructure and we were letting between 5 and 6 people go. I had a breakdown. I'm crying in my car beforehand because it was stressing me out. However, after I've done that several times over the years, it has gotten easier. It was a new skill that I had to learn to develop. If you're operating a company, that company or business is ultimately going to be the machine that will help get you to that next level. The most important thing here, in my opinion, is getting the right people. That is what is going to help the business move as quickly as possible. Think about it this way. Let's say you play basketball and you are an NBA player or you have that level of skill, but you assemble your team and the other 4 teammates are high school players that don't really practice that much. Are you going to be able to compete with any NBA team? No, you're not. What if you get to recruit your team and you can recruit 4 other NBA players? Well, now you can play with the big boys and you are going to win a lot of games. It's the exact same thing with business. Those who get to the next level are recruiting A players. It is so important to do that. The biggest mistake I made was waiting a long time to do that. Moving on to level 4. This is where financial independence really becomes a reality. 10 million? All the way up to 100 million. It could be higher because you're going to see the next level. The characteristics are really the same of the individual. I usually see people at this level, they enjoy working. They enjoy learning more. Like that's what's driving them. They don't need the money anymore. To get to the next level, it means that you want to keep on growing. You probably run a business. You probably already have to make hard decisions and you have to make them quickly. I see people at this level constantly looking for more talent and striving to hire the right people. Going back to getting the right people, how we get from level 3 to level 4, if that makes sense. They also have the ability to fire or let people go quickly. I know speaking personally, I'm very big on giving second, third, fourth chances. And I think there's value to that personally because I appreciated it when people gave me multiple chances. So I always want to extend that as well. But I do see people at this level, They move a lot faster, especially with those hard decisions, such as cutting people earlier than others might do. They make decisions fast and they delegate so much. One of our biggest clients is a bank. They've made multiple 8-figure deposits into cash value life insurance with my company over the years. Now, the owner of the bank, he delegated most of the decisions to his CFO and other high-level executives. That's what he did. He's like, hey, I trust you guys at this point. You make the decisions. I'll just write the check. And it benefited him a lot. Let's move on to level 5. Now, at this point, it's not about wealth anymore. It's about purpose, impact, and who you're becoming. I'll categorize level 5 just like this, right? But in most cases, like when I have a discussion with someone, they're above a net worth of $100 million if they're at this level. So when I think about the clients I've worked with who have founded pharmaceutical companies, private equity firms, own their own bank, they don't need to keep working. The founders still get up early. They still stay in late. People look at them and say, why are you doing that? It's because they love it. And they feel like their work gives them purpose. I get it. I have a ton of fun with work too. I'm not at that level, but I see them doing that a lot. What I will say about this level is that most important decisions are made by a team of trusted advisors, and the focus is typically leaving a large legacy. The people I see here are usually thinking about how they could pass on not just their money, but also their businesses and what they want their legacy to be to the next generation. And they also want that to be passed on effectively. And what that means is this is where you'll see these family offices set up and these trusts that are established that control everything and prevent bad decisions from family members ever occurring. Like we've all heard of the Rockefellers and how the wealth stays within the family. Those are the 5, or call it 6 levels of wealth. And one thing I do want to say here is, speaking personally, level 0 can be stressful, but when I've been my happiest and have had the least amount of stress was really at levels 1 and 2. And it was because I wasn't managing as much, specifically with the business. Just to be clear, I thoroughly enjoy what I do, so I'm not complaining by any means. It's just a different lifestyle in that regard. It's not easy just to go from one level to the next. To simplify all of this, I would say just being responsible and not doing anything that causes unnecessary stress, I think is okay. Because again, we've got clients in all of these levels. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, here's another one I think you might enjoy.